Hey, you guys. I pray that everything is great your way and that you're having an absolutely amazing day. Listen, if you are not, do not worry because you are going to leave here way better than you came. Okay, I give energy, I give revival, I give deliverance on this channel, so you will not leave here worse. You will leave here better, even if it stings a little bit. It was for your good. Okay, that's how God works.
It's for rain.
Listen, it was the perfect thing for it to rain. And for some reason, it was on my spirit to come out here and record today. So we are outside in the rain, my favorite weather. I just love the rain. I feel like it's God's sign of renewal and Him just renewing your spirit, your mind, your heart, your everything so that you can step into your next day, your next season, refreshed and knowing who you are. Okay? God sends storms. You will get through the storm. You will get through the rain so that you can claim your throne and know what your crown is worth. That's what my channel is all about. Hence the name of my channel. But yeah, let's just get into it and talk survival mode. Earlier, I had came across this video of Little Scrappy and Mama D on Love and Hip Hop. And it was a scene where, they were arguing back and forth, and Little Scrappy was talking about his childhood basically and how it affected him, and he was angry. And it seemed like Mama D was not really receptive. It seemed as if she was taking it as an attack. So in her taking that as an attack, she was basically playing blame games. We do not understand how much surviving affects us coming up and as adults. And when you get to that point in your life, when you realize your childhood was not normal, when you realize, okay, that was not okay, and I lived my whole life thinking that was okay, and then I got around other people and seen how they were raised, seen how they grew up, and started really doing my research, and it was not normal the way I was raised. So anger and resentment moves in when you start to realize that your childhood was not normal. When you start to reflect on everything that you went through, you start to get angry. You start to get mad. So instead of talking to your parent, you begin talking at them, especially in anger. And in that comes strife, comes division, comes argument, comes no accountability because it's an attack. We have to get forgiveness first in order to even be able to have those conversations with our parents, because when we're coming at them in anger and we're coming at them, they're taking it as an attack on themselves when they're already attacking themselves. You don't think your parents think about all the things they put you through, the trauma that they exposed you to, not knowing any better out of ignorance? You don't think they think about that and beat themselves up? Yes. Just like you think about how it affected you, they think about how it affected you as well. And then shame moves in for them and they begin to beat themselves up about how they handled raising their children. So when that attack comes, it's not just an attack from you. It's not just them lashing back out against you. It's them lashing back out against themselves and also lashing out in anger and hurt because they had to experience trauma in their childhood that was never addressed either. Growing up in survival mode will have a parent thinking that it does not matter what they're doing to their children. It does not matter what they're putting their children through because they're just kids and they doing what they got to do. They got food, they got a shelter, and y'all making it. So because your parent is operating in survival mode, they are not thinking about the effects this will have on you when you get older. They start thinking about them effects when you get older and you start to realize something ain't right. That's when it all comes to. But when you're in survival mode, you not thinking about how it's going to affect your children. You thinking about if your kids going to eat. You thinking about if your lights going to be on. You thinking about so much more than how it's going to psychologically affect your children when they become adults. Like I was saying earlier, later, when the kids grow up, when you grow up and you realize your childhood was not normal, it was toxic and there was a lot going on in your childhood, resentment moves in. So now in that resentment, that anger starts to slowly pour into, and now you're talking at your parent, you're angry, you have all this just built up trauma and emotion. You never learn how to manage your emotions properly or even identify which is which, so it's just purely anger now at this point. It's pure blind rage. So it's a battle between mom and son, mom and daughter. There is a battle now. There is conflict. There is struggle. And it goes deeper than just the mom relationship. Sometimes it's dad. Sometimes it's both parents. It's a battle now because you have resentment and anger built up because you're realizing that something was wrong in your childhood, and now you're battling mom and dad, or just mom or just dad, and they're battling you back because they're not ready to address those issues. They're not ready to hold themselves accountable. They're not ready to say that they were wrong and they didn't know no better. So there is a battle going on. So now, instead of the child and the parent talking to each other, they are talking at each other. And remember, there is no emotional maturity. There's no emotional intelligence. So it's purely anger. There's no empathy. Listen, empathy is the most important thing when it comes to trying to heal childhood trauma. When it comes to trying to heal that inner child within yourself, empathy is the most important thing you will need on top of forgiveness. Empathy needs to come in because if you grew up in the harsh conditions that you grew up in, going through what you experienced, what did your mama go through? What did your daddy go through? What did they have to experience that was not addressed? Because back in the day, you couldn't even speak a word. You couldn't say nothing. You didn't have half of the tools or the access to the things that we have now as a generation. So what did they experience? This is where empathy needs to come in, because you have to have empathy so that you're not talking at your parent in anger and not getting any of the solutions to your problems, not getting any of the answers to your questions. It's just a pure argument that's going back and forth in anger and strife and division. Empathy has to come in. But in order for you to be empathetic, you also have to coexist with forgiveness. Empathy and forgiveness have to coexist. You have to first understand what your parent went through. Now, this is no excuse for what you went through. This is no excuse for what your parent has put you through. This is no excuse at all, and I'm not slighting what you have been through. What I'm saying is, in order for you to get the proper healing, what you're really looking for, in order for you to get the answers that you're really looking for, you are going to need to have some empathy, some understanding, because you're going to want somebody to have some empathy and understanding with you, especially your kids, because you're not going to break every cycle. Your kids are going to have some cycles to break too, and you're not going to get it all the way right because of your ignorance. It's going to be better than you had it, yes, but there's still going to be something that your kid felt like you lacked in, or you lacked on, or they did not receive. It's just life. This runs deep. It's a deep-rooted issue. So we are going to be breaking these cycles for a long time to come, but they will be broken. Understand this. If mom is already in survival mode, been in survival mode for a long time, she's already angry. She already has a whole bunch of bottled up trauma on top of now having to deal with your trauma and where she lacked as a parent. She's already thinking about that, and now she's being addressed. So all of that is going to cause mom to go into defense mode. Purely, she now feels like she has to survive. She has to fight. She's still in survival. We're still in survival here. We have to identify the bigger issue, which is we have grown up in harsh conditions where we have had to survive. So we constantly feel like we have to fight. So now you're coming at her. She's going to come right back at you because she's in defense mode now. She does not feel like she is safe or understood. You having that empathy and forgiveness, and let me say this, it's going to take a little bit of anger and fighting and bickering back and forth for you to get to this point. So don't beat yourself up that you've been arguing with your mama and coming at her in anger and rage. Forgive yourself for that. Really. Because that's all you knew. That's what you grew up seeing, was anger and strife and division and fighting. That's what we experienced and what we saw. So how would you know to come at her any type of other way? Don't beat yourself up. But what I'm saying is, forgiveness and empathy are two key factors that have to come into play in order for you to get the answers and the healing that you are searching for. And in order for mom to get that release so she can forgive not only herself, but she can forgive her past and her trauma as well, to be the type of mother that you need for her to be in this moment in your life. So when you get that forgiveness, when you start working on that empathy and really trying to understand her, and not trying to understand her from a sympathetic point to where you feeling bad for her, so you're holding back on how you feel when you're not really saying everything or getting your true healing because you feel bad. Empathy, not sympathy. You don't feel bad. You just understand how she can feel because you too have felt these same emotions. So when empathy and forgiveness is expressed in the conversation, mom now feels like she has a safe space. In her feeling like she has a safe space, she can provide a safe space for you as well, and a real conversation can ensue. But this is going to take empathy. And I'm so sorry that you have to be the bigger person in this situation. I'm so sorry that you have to sometimes be the parent in the situation. But they never got the tools that we have the access to right now. So sometimes, just like when parents get older and they become the children again, we have to go back and care for them so that they can care for us. As much as it sucks, as much as we should not have to. It's a responsibility, and in order for you to get that healing that you need and to be able to provide that for your children, you're going to have to put that pride to the side and become a little bit more empathetic so that you can get the get right, the act right that you deserve. You also have to understand that mom never got these answers she's about to give you. She never was able to come to her parent in the way that you're coming to her. So there's a little bit of hurt and a little bit of anger inside of her because she's giving you what she never was able to receive. And she wants to give it to you. Don't think your parent just want to be hateful and spiteful towards you. No, it's just built up trauma and pain and hurt. I don't believe that any parent truly just want to be evil. That's something completely different. We fight not against flesh and blood. It's spiritual. And those spirits come with trauma and pain. So she has a lot that she has to fight through in order to give you what you deserve as her child. But you gotta fight with her, especially if you believe that it can be possible, especially if you're believing for the healing in your family, especially if you're ready to break those generational curses and cycles. You have to be prepared to fight, and not only fight for you, but fight for your mama too. The reason why excuses and comparison get thrown up when you address the issues from your childhood with your parents is simply because they never got those answers for themselves. So while you're addressing your hurt and their trauma, they feel like that's their time to address their hurt and their trauma too. But what they're not understanding is they're addressing it with the wrong person. They trying to address it with their child when they need to be addressing it with their parents. Hence why little Scrappy said, you need to address that with your mama and your daddy. Not me, I'm the child. They never got that opportunity. Their parents might be dead and gone. And if their parents still alive, they probably don't even have the courage to even be able to stand up to them in that way. So they taking it out on the person that's closest to them, which is you, the child. So every time you bring up your childhood trauma, there's a rebuttal as to why, because of what they went through, what they experienced, and they feel like that's right, but really it's just them screaming that they in pain too, that they went through hurt too, that they gave you better than what they had, that they were operating out of ignorance and out of hurt and out of pain and out of survival. You had food, you had a roof, you had something that they didn't have. So they trying to fight you while you trying to fight them, and all of it is pain and trauma and misunderstanding and miscommunication. Again, this is not me knocking your trauma or your pain or me saying come up with excuses for your parents. This is not me saying that. I'm saying that in empathy will come forgiveness, and in forgiveness you will be able to accept the fact that mom might not be able to give me what I'm searching for right now, but in me forgiving her, I'm not angry. I'm not living in my trauma and my fear and my chaos and my pain to where I can't even be happy in my adult life. It's simply you saying, I forgive you because you didn't even know no better. Lord, forgive them for they do not know what they do. It's me forgiving you so that I can forgive myself for what I put myself through in ignorance because of what I experienced in my childhood. It's me saying, I forgive you because you probably didn't even know what you were doing and I don't want to hate you. It's me saying I forgive you so that I can move on in happiness and know I am worthy of the proper love. And it's me saying I forgive you so that you can forgive yourself and so that you can not only give me what I deserve, but know that you deserve proper love too. Your parents might not be able to give you what you're looking for right now. And I have to reiterate this because in this healing journey, I have experienced this, y'all. In this healing journey, you will think, okay, I'm healed and I'm healing and I'm whole and I'm happy and I'm trying to heal my family and break these curses and these traumas. And they might not be ready for that. So you going to have these conversations and address these issues and they're not ready. You're begging and angry because they're not ready to give you what they don't have to give. A person cannot give you what they do not have to give. That takes work. That takes dedication. That takes effort. That takes going out and getting the proper help and the proper wisdom. But it first takes them being able to know that that is possible. So you starting the conversation, you healing, you not talking at mom, but forgiving her and really sitting down and saying, I understand what you went through, but I just want to let you know that this is what I experienced and what I went through as a child too because of that. But I forgive you. That'll open up a door if they are ready to go out and get the proper wisdom and help to be the parent for you that you deserve. And to be the woman that they need to be for themselves. Listen. This is a journey. A journey. It's going to be tears. There are going to be arguments. There are going to be ups and downs, bad and good days. But do not grow weary in good doing, because you're trying to break a cycle and a generational curse. You are trying to get your parents, your family, your children to see that there is more in life than pain and suffering and survival. With prayer, with faith, and with belief, because you can have faith all day, but you also have to believe. Okay, you can be in faith and not be believing. Okay, so you with prayer, with faith, with belief, and with work, taking that action, doing that work, that internal and external work, anything is possible through God. Anything. So keep believing for the healing of your family. Keep believing for the healing of yourself. Keep believing for the healing of your mom. Keep believing that y'all's relationship will get better with time. Keep believing in that and putting in the work and making sure you are forgiving truly. And forgiveness, y'all, sometimes you're not going to forgive the first time. You might have said, okay, I forgive them. And then a situation come up or a conversation come up in the process of healing where it seemed like it's still the same as it used to be, and that anger come back up. Okay, you're going to have to forgive again. Sometimes it takes forgiving multiple times in multiple ways in order for true forgiveness to set in your heart. This is why it is necessary to pray to God about healing your heart, changing your heart posture. You have to invite God into that space with you, because that is what's really going to change you. You don't got all the power. You don't have all the answers. You need God in your space. You do. I don't care what nobody say. We are spiritual beings. You need God's spirit, Jesus' spirit. You need their spirits with you, in you, guiding you. Or you can put yourself in a place that you are not supposed to be in, thinking that you have healed, and you just operating in pride and power, in unbelief, in cockiness, thinking that's the proper way to heal, because you just don't address it no more, because you don't think about it no more, because you made yourself a completely different person on the outside and are totally ignoring your internal, when that's the part that you have to heal. Because like I've been saying, you can put on a mask all day, but that mask gonna come off. You can't just cut off the people who know who you truly are so that you don't have to address your issues. That internal is going to show through that external, no matter what mask you put on. You can reinvent yourself 1,000 times, but if you do not address that internal issue, your mask going to have to continue to change, and you won't be able to be your authentic self. So do that internal work. Have those conversations. Start working on forgiveness. Talk to God. Take it to Him. Pray, meditate, fast, sit in stillness. Let those thoughts come to you so that you can address them and rebuke what is not God and accept what is. Okay? You can do this. You got this. It's in you. It wouldn't affect you if it's not for you to change. You wouldn't be so bothered about what's going on in your family if you did not have the solution to it. You wouldn't be so irritated when you don't see change in your family. It is for a reason. Everything that you experience is for a reason. Everything that you are frustrated by is because there is a solution. Step out here and find it. Pray, meditate, fast, go inside yourself and work on you first, so that you will know how to discern what is really going on a deeper level than just your mom angry and being defensive and combative. That's hurt. That's ego. That's pride. You'll know what spirit it is, and you'll know what to rebuke and pray for, what to speak to. Sometimes you'll be having conversations with your family, and they'll be speaking in lack. They'll be speaking in pride. They'll be speaking from something that's not even in them, and you're going to have to pray in your mind and really be rebuking it in that conversation, because they're ignorant to it, but you are aware. So use your discernment and make sure that you have the proper relationship with God, so that you can be dealing with these issues head on. The power is in you. God is in you. You got this. You were born for this. You were made for this. So keep fighting and do not grow weary in good doing, because it's not an easy process. It's not an easy journey, but it's worth it. Every tear, every feeling, every emotion, it is worth it, because in the end, you will see change. And even if your circumstances are still the same, because it might take years, view them as if they're not. Speak to them as if they're not. Move as if they're not, because one day they won't be. One day they will be different. That's where your faith and your belief comes in, okay? Operating in survival mode, it's a deep conversation. It has many parts to it. It runs deep. It runs deep, y'all. So I cannot address everything that survival mode affects. But over the course of the next few weeks, we will be addressing everything that God puts in my heart, everything that I possibly can, that I have personally experienced when it comes to survival mode. If you have anything that you want to add to this series, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, opinions, comment them. Reach out to me. Where two or more people meet, God will truly be. So let's collab and have him in our midst so we can truly know how to handle these situations, so that we can talk about how to heal, so that we can get together as a people and really begin to do that internal work, not just separately but together as well, because you never know what somebody else has been through. You never know what they can bring to what you are trying to change. So let's connect, let's collab, and let's get together. And as always, I pray that you are leaving this video way better than you came, with a deeper discernment, higher wisdom, and just good energy attached to what you are trying to do and what you have been working towards. God is always with you, and if you don't know him, get into a quiet space and invite him into the doors of your heart that have been closed. It's as simple as saying, God, I feel like I'm getting it wrong here and I need you. It could be an anger that you invite God, and I'm mad at what happened. I don't understand why my childhood was like this, or why you did this to me, but I want to understand so that I'm not so angry. I want to be happy. Whatever that looks like for you, that's how you invite God into your space. He will show you what he wants to be called and how he wants you to be in relationship with him. You don't have to go based off what anybody else is talking about. It's an intimate relationship for a reason. It won't be the same as everybody else's. You can be saved. You can be healed. You can have your own intimate relationship with God and not have to step into a church or be prophesied over. It is in you. Okay? But it's great to be in a spiritual community. So if you are looking for a church, check out Rock City Church with Michael Todd Jr. Check out Limitless Church with Pastor Kim. It's in Fayetteville, Georgia. There are plenty of churches and communities and spiritual spaces that can help you really grow in your faith and your wisdom and your discernment. So do not think you have to stay in isolation or by yourself and figure it all out. You're not alone. Okay? If you ever need prayer, if you ever want to talk, DM me, email me, book me. I will list my booking website below in the description box. You can book a phone call with me. You can send me an email. If you're looking to find out what your purpose is or which direction to go in, the link is going to be below. I'm here to help you. I'm here to pour into you. And as I give to receive and you receive to give, it's going to be even exchange of abundance. So let's get into abundance, y'all. And I pray that you stick around for this series, Survival Mode, and that we just continue to grow, prosper, and heal together. Pray that this blessed your life, and I pray that God continues to show you his hand in your healing journey, because he is there. See you guys later.